Wow, in our brave new world, there is one thing you can do that is critically important so that you can engage and influence people out there behind the screen. And that is to at least look like you're listening. Now, why would we do that and how? Can I ask you just to do this for me? Could you put your hand out in front, please? Could you clench your fist, point your finger, and turn it in a clockwise direction? Now, just be very careful that that's clockwise. Check that you've got it clockwise. And then when you've got it, pop it onto your chin. Now, I ask you, is that your chin? You know, most people will have followed me to here. Very few people listen to the words that we say. We actually follow the body. So if you're going to look like you're listening, it is about looking like you're listening. It's about body, because this is the critical thing with communication. Now, here we are behind the camera. You're not getting that feedback. You don't have your whole body to express. All that you've got, you're under the magnifying glass of the virtual world. And we have just this part of the body. Now, there's not much there. Not only that, we find that the Gallup polls told us in 2019 that 13% of organizations are disengaged. That means the people around you have their screen turned off. So not only are you getting no smiles back, no looks, no anything, you're getting a black screen. And that was 2019. In 2020, we have a lot more disengagement. These skills are critical. So when we come into our virtual world and we're under that magnifying glass, what do we find? The rules are different. You know, there is a subjective distortion of time. Our perception is that time is actually longer than it actually is when there's silence. So if you're silent for just 1 second, people think you're giving them the silence treatment, which you're not. It's not the silence treatment. Silence, however, is not golden, but listening is silence. So, wow, the body takes super importance. The other thing is that people at home, we're thinking everybody's relaxed, everybody's super happy to be there, and research is showing they're not. People are stressed, people are lonely, and being on the other side of a camera means that we're undermining trust. So there are really good reasons to get this spot on. And what are we going to do? Well, the very first thing is to get front and center in your camera. You know, we're looking at the television and we're seeing this, and people in television know this. Cameras move for them. Well, when you're in your office or in your home office, you don't have someone adjusting the camera. You are in control, and there's no point having yourself off at an angle, because this sends messages. When the body itself is at an angle, that is not solid and balanced. When your head is at an angle, you know, this is what we do when we're listening and we're disconnected. If you're speaking to me and my head is here, I'm saying I'm on your wavelength. When I move my head to the side, I'm saying, yep, here's your wavelength. Yep, here's mine. I'm on a different wavelength, and I'm waiting for you to stop so that I can put my head back on again. So we have the head straight ahead, and we don't want the body forwards, and we don't want the body backwards. We're just upright with a little bit of space at the top, and we're right here. But there's no good if you're static and still. And I'm finding myself, as no doubt you are, staring at a screen in meetings, and there's all these people just sitting there giving you nothing back. So you, as the professional, need to lead the way with what you need to do, which is actually to nod the head. That's where the movement is in the body when you're on the screen. But it's not as easy as it looks. Many people nod too quickly. Nodding too quickly actually says agreement. It says yes. You're not necessarily agreeing, you're just listening. And people can do something that sends a very negative message, which is they can nod backwards. Nod backwards. Now, when we nod backwards, why do we do it? We might do it because we've had a neck injury, or we might do it because our parents did it and we're imitating. You know, my family always did that, so I nod backwards. It will always be perceived as arrogance. So you can't do it. You can't nod your head backwards. You will rarely see a politician nod their head backwards because they have learnt over time that this will send a very negative perception to the people they're speaking to. So with our head, we're nodding forwards. Where from? Here. We nod from this muscle in the body. We nod the head forwards, upright, forwards, and we do that because the psychology is that we're flexible of body and flexible of mind. You know, when we get challenged in some way, we tend to protect the weak parts of our body, and our neck is a weak part, so we jam it back. We jam it back. When I jam my neck back, you hear people, when they're hit with difficult questions, go into that voice. It's tight, the air is blocked. The body moves like this, and it says, I'm not flexible in my body or my mind. Flexibility of the head shows flexibility of the body and flexibility of your thinking. So our very first skill is to be right in the center, upright and nodding to soften the body. Now, what's the next thing that we're going to do? Well, it's the eyes. Now, we're not going to actually move the eyes, but we're going to be very careful about where they sit in the head and what movement does happen around them. So I had a client who came into me and said that their staff found them intimidating. And when I spoke to them, I noticed that her head was forward and her eyes were up like this. And what you get is the white under the eyeballs. Now, that's what actors do when they want to actually portray that they're sinister. And it's what the Joker did in Batman. And we don't realize we're doing it. We think we're caring. We put the head forward. But in fact, we look sinister. And when I said to her, what do you do to actually soften that? She said, I smile. Which of course made it worse. Let's become aware of that and make sure that our head was up straight, but now our eyes are center, and the eyes are center in the body. Now it's not the eyeballs that move, it's the eyelids that soften. Now you may have seen people, you know, nodding too quickly. This looks like you've been caught out. You're very uncertain. The blinking of the eye too quickly. And the blinking of the eye too static is, of course, what psychopaths do. They don't blink. So we want to blink, but there's a rate that you blink, and that rate is approximately 15 times per minute. Now that comes down to a count of once every 4 seconds. So here you are, you're up straight, you're nodding, you're blinking, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You think, oh, Louise, I can't count and think at the same time. But you know, when we get under difficulty, what happens is someone asks us a question and we tend to go into that negative thinking, and we're thinking, why did you ask that? How are you questioning me? What? Instead now, we're going to use our mantra of counting the blink. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually a great thing to do to keep you centered, keep you in control, because we're bringing these skills up to conscious control. Now, the last thing that we're going to do is something that is very controversial. We're going to actually smile. Now, think of Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton opened her mouth, and she'd walk on stage, like this during the election. It's the Hillary Clinton smile, and it's actually known as the American smile. And the American smile has the mouth wide open, and it's fantastic because often the body is open, the mouth is open, and we're smiling to show how open we are. That wide smile, though, is very cultural, and it's different in other countries, and it's different in Russia. In Russia, the smile is not appreciated. The smile, there is a phrase in Russia that says, if you smile, you are an idiot. And I challenge you to find a photo of Putin smiling. There's a tiny little glimpse in some of them, but smiling is not what you do in Russia. And what we need to think, this is a new world in 2020. What are we going to do in our world? What is the most professional way that we can control ourselves? And these skills are under unconscious control and they're under conscious control. So we can learn how to do it. And we go back to Duchenne. And in 1862, Duchenne did research. And he did electric shocks on real people. Can you believe it? Those were the days. He did electric shocks and he showed that there were 19 different types of smile. But you don't want all of those smiles. Some of them we do when we're unhappy, sad, crying. There is one smile that is seen as the really fantastic smile for engaging others, and it's called the Duchenne smile, after him. And the Duchenne smile has two aspects to it. The first aspect is that the mouth goes wide. You know, just do that. The mouth goes wide. But you can see that's not the answer to what you need to do, because when you go wide, it seems very insincere if the second part is not there. And the second part is the eyes. And these are called the orbicularis oculi. And the orbicularis oculi need to actually contract as well. So we get the sideways smile and we get the lift of the eyes. And that's the Duchenne smile. So we're nodding, blinking, and smiling. But you know what? We don't all want to look like Hillary Clinton. Because that might not be suitable for every occasion. You don't want somebody saying to you, we have a struggle, and you've got to smile like this. So what are we talking about? Yes, we want these two sets of muscles working, but maybe not as strongly all the time. What we really want is the jaw released. And when the jaw is released, 90% of electrical current goes through the temporomandibular when you're thinking, and if we get stressed, it goes tight. You see people in the riots with tight jaws. No, we want that loose. And to get that loose, there's a trick. And the trick for getting the jaw loose is actually to press your tongue up onto your palate. Press your tongue up onto your palate. And that gives you takes the pressure off the temporomandibular and releases it so that the lips are slightly apart. So when it comes to smiling, I'm saying release the mouth, press the tongue. And it may be that it would be suitable to do the American smile, but you have a whole range of things that you do. It's a new world, that's for sure. You need to look like you're listening. And to do that, we need to actually think of ourselves under the magnifying glass and this part of the body that maybe we haven't put much thought to before. And that involves three particular skills. First of all, you are right in the center. And then you are nodding for some movement of the head. This is the part of the body that moves. Then you are blinking the eyes. This is the part of the eye that moves. And it's once every 4 seconds. And then you are opening the mouth. If you are going to engage, if you are going to influence, if you are going to be trusted by the people around you, you need to at least look like you're listening. And if you're going to look like you're listening, nod, blink, and as the Russians would say, smile like an idiot.